Hello again, my friends. I'm Steve Saylor for the Money Free Party. And if you're anything like me, you have had enough of our democracy being sacrificed to the corporate gods, the way corporations have taken total control over our government, our lives, our health, and the health of our planet, or lack thereof. So here's a couple questions for you. Do we really need corporations anymore? Why do we even have them in the first place? How long have they been around? Well, since colonial times, 1600s at least. And here's something you might not be aware of. Our American Revolution was a revolt not just against British monarchs and bankers, but against British corporations, which were used by the kings and their cronies to manage their colonies and gain control of resources. The British East India Company was one of the biggest. They were the Exxon Mobil of their day. And when they imposed unfair duties or fees on their incoming tea, we resisted. Their ships were turned back at port. Then came the Boston Tea Party when we took that tea and tossed it overboard. And that was an event that created enormous revolutionary excitement. The people were beginning to understand their own strength, and to see that this revolution was not just possible, it was inevitable. After the revolution, the American people were determined to keep corporate power under control, giving them a charter for a specific project which would be in the public interest for construction of roads and canals, etc. But they were heavily regulated and held accountable for any damage they caused. Also, they were granted that charter for a certain period of time, 20 or 30 years, or however long it should take. Then they were dissolved. Oh, how good does that sound? The corporations were dissolved, and they were forbidden from making any political contributions or influencing elections. My, oh my, how things have changed. At this point in time, they have completely taken over our governments, become one and the same, which is inevitable in this monetary market system, this monopoly game we're playing. And what is this game producing for us now? Well, just look around at the endless wars for the empires, needless suffering, starvation, the utter disregard of our environment, all for the benefit of the corporate state and their shareholders. Well, you know how the monopoly game ends, right? When someone has all the properties and all the money and everyone else is going bankrupt. That's where we are now, down to the last roll of the dice, and then the game's over for the corporations, which is fine. Don't worry, because we don't need them anymore. We, the people, can do a much better job of managing our resources for the public interest, for the benefit of all. No doubt about it, it's not even close. For instance, when we understand that we're using up our resources faster than the planet can replenish, would we be making products that were designed to break down and thrown away so we can sell them again? No. Planned obsolescence would be unthinkable. We'd make things to last so we're not wasting our resources and creating mountains of trash. If we were managing the Exxon Mobil monster, would we be trying to produce more and more oil? No, we'd be producing less and less. We would be winding down the dirty oil spigot as we ramp up the clean energy. We'd be striving to produce the least amount of oil necessary. And we could cut that in half very quickly when half the cars are off the road because people aren't driving to jobs that produce nothing. Or how about this? Would we be dumping our waste, our toxic chemicals where it was easiest to dump? Where it might pollute our water or the air? No, we would be disposing of these things in the safest ways our current science and technology allows, as we're winding down our use of hazardous chemicals. One more. Would we take away natural medicines and replace them with synthetic chemicals that cause more problems? Would we create this opioid crisis for profit? No, we can see the problems here clearly. The profit system is poisonous. It's killing us. And everybody's complaining about how we've been taken over by corporations, how we've now become the corporate states of America. But are any other parties talking about dissolving the corporations? like they did in the early days of America, and letting the people manage our resources and our society for the benefit of everyone? No, the money-free party is the only one getting to the bottom of it, dealing with reality, digging up the roots, not just saying, this is what we should be doing, but this is what we have to do now. So look into the Money-Free Party, USA. Here's the website. Click on the link and look at the policies. This is where we have to go now if we're going to be responsible adults and hand over a decent world for future generations.